So here we are. We're live
I
now.
know, right? That's what I'm saying.
Let's go.
We are ready to go. Here with
I
Big
think
Tim.
Chandler's already lagging a little
So,
bit.
am I lagging already? No way. There's just no way. You got 1 gigabyte up, down, and then I'm lagging. That's just stupid.
I think you're good.
You think I'm good?
You're good
I
on
think
my
you're back.
end.
I think you're back now.
Oh, dude, I'm back and bougie. All right. Well, if my Wi-Fi will hold up, what do you think? We good? We good? This is 2 times in a row.
I think so. I think
Actually,
you're
last
just.
time was good.
All right.
So
So
I
let's
can
just go
restart my
into it.
computer and it'll.
Let's go into it,
All
though.
right. All right.
Let's
Let's
go
get this
into
thing
it. Say,
rolling.
who's this beautiful young man? I think
Oh
he might
my
be the
gosh!
youngest
Look at
person.
this. This might
Younger,
be.
the youngest even compared to. I think you might be the
I
only
know. I
guest
think
that's younger than us.
Tim.
On here.
Yeah,
I think you're the only person rivaling me for a baby face out here.
really.
So I'm proud.
I
Yeah,
thought
you
about
both.
shaving
So,
before. Get rid of the
dude.
beard,
Oh gosh, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe you came on here with that beard. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you boys are looking good. All
But
right. So
Yeah.
tell us,
it,
Tim, a little bit about
anyway, so
yourself.
yeah, Tim, introduce yourself.
Where should I start? Like, go back a little bit,
Anywhere,
or
just from
tell
the
you what I'm
beginning
at
of
right
time,
now?
your journey.
Just since you were a toddler, I guess we can start there if you want.
Okay, so I used to play in like these big piles of dirt behind my house all the time.
Exactly, man. Monkey bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I'm Tim Stone, 21 years old. I do real estate investment and a whole bunch of other things. But to tell you a little bit about how I got into entrepreneurship, it all went back to high school, which was not that long ago for me. But started, with Rich Dad Poor Dad because my dad read that and he made me read it. And then I started getting into the right mindset of personal finance. That's when Gary Vee started getting big on Instagram. Grant Cardone started getting big on YouTube. So I was seeing all those guys, and they were kind of in a way like my mentors, just because I was consuming their content and learning the stuff they had to teach. And it was actually my 17th birthday. I was at the outlet mall and I just saw these
Heck yeah.
sneakers and I was like, they were on sale. And I was like, I'm going to buy these for myself. It's my birthday. I need to do this. So I got 3 pairs of sneakers and I got home and started thinking I could sell these for way more than I paid for them. So I put them on Facebook Marketplace immediately and sold them the next day. And I think I made over $100 profit. So
Hey.
I met the lady in the parking lot of a shoe store, got the cash, went inside and bought some more.
Hey,
So
I
that
like
was
that.
that was the very start of my entrepreneurial journey. And I flipped sneakers for a couple of years. My best profit was a pair that I bought for $160 and sold for $630.
Yeezys?
Literally as soon as they came in the mail. No,
Really
they
good.
were super limited edition Air Maxes. Or
Gotcha.
the Sean Wotherspoon 97 ones.
Hey.
If there's any sneakerheads, they also know that I did not sell them at the top price because they go for thousands now. But
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I did the same thing, Tim. I started out with that, selling shoes too, way back when.
Yeah, and eventually I
Yeah.
ended up starting a real estate photography business just because my parents were in the Airbnb industry and
Mm-hmm.
they sold their company, started working for a bigger management company, and I was doing photography over there. Then I branched out to get my own clients, doing realtors, stuff like that, property management companies.
Heck
And
yeah.
moved to Chattanooga to go to school, and that's where I really decided to jump into real estate because I wanted to have a career in real estate investment.
Yeah, because I think Tim, when did we meet? Probably like 2019 or 2020.
No, it was during COVID, like the first couple of weeks of quarantine.
Yeah. So 2019. And I just remember, yeah, you were starting out. That was almost 2 years now. Oh no, dang, hold on, that's almost
It's
been
about
3
to be
years.
2 years.
Or about to be 2 years, yeah. It's
Yeah.
2020 and it's 22. But yeah, hold on. When was COVID started? 2020 it started.
2020.
Yeah.
It was like
March.
it was like
2020.
March 2020.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we were all sitting at home, sent home from college, and we had a group chat for the real estate club at UT Chattanooga, and someone just threw this Zoom link in it, and they're like, "We're talking about real estate. Come in." And I know Gino, you were leading that call. I don't remember who else was on there.
Yes, that was with Blake, right? That was like the call.
Yeah, it was with Blake. So Blake threw it in the group chat, and I joined it. And then you were talking about this deal you were doing in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and I was like, "That's where I'm at. I'm in Blue Ridge right now." So you sent me out to find it, and I couldn't find the property just because the GPS does not work out there anyway.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that
But that's how we got connected.
for sure. And then you helped us out. You used some real estate photography on one of the cabins out there too. So
Hmm.
the blessing, big Timmy Stone. But
Nothing
keep
like it.
telling us about it. So you went there. You went to Chattanooga. What even got you into real estate there though? Because did you? I mean, how did you even find out about the real estate program or blah blah blah?
So I went into college with the intention of getting into real estate. So
Oh, okay.
probably like day one or week one in college, excuse me, I was sitting at my advisor's office and I was like, who do I need to meet in Chattanooga if I'm going to do real estate?
Mm-hmm.
And she told me a couple names, and one of them, his name was JD Frost. She's like, yeah, he's pretty connected with us. Like, I can get you connected with him. He's actually coming to speak to you guys because I was in the scholarship program.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, cool. Like, sounds like a cool guy. I found him on Instagram, followed him, and connected with him there. So he came to speak, and he's a CPA. So he didn't have a ton to do with real estate. He was involved with a lot of people that did real estate. I was like, this is a good connection to have. So I, talked to him, let him know who I was, and stayed in touch. And I was just always taking real estate investors out to lunch all the time, going to networking events, meeting as many people as I could. One, because the real estate photography business is how I was paying for school. So I needed to meet more people in real estate to have more business because I was moving to a new city. And two, because I wanted to get into real estate. So I was just trying to build these relationships, find opportunities. I was 18, didn't know that much about real estate, just a little bit. So I was learning, educating myself, Bigger Pockets, podcast, YouTube. And then just going through school, there was a real estate club. My buddy Nick started it, and just trying to get as plugged in as I could. And then year goes by, COVID starts, and my internship that I had lined up just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So I made the decision that, okay, this is not going to happen. Like, COVID's not going away after 2 weeks. So I need to find a job because I had already signed a lease to move back to Chattanooga.
Mm-hmm.
So I texted 3 people, and one of them was JD Frost. And I was like, hey, I go to UTC. We've met, looking for a job in real estate. Do you know of anything? And he called me immediately, and he's like, dude, I think I know exactly what you want to do. Like, you can start in 8 days.
Hey.
Yeah. So I moved to Chattanooga.
Hey, there you go.
Came to meet up with him, and he's like, got this idea for a fund. We're going to buy real estate. We're going to, we actually tried to start a wholesaling company. I think I called Gino on the first day to see which software I needed to download. I had Deal Machine and PropStream and all that stuff. Didn't really go anywhere with that. We ended up getting into some multifamily deals not too long after we started. And that was it. It was like day one, we closed on a 48 unit property deal, or 48 unit deal. I was handed a bucket of keys, and they're like, you're a property manager now. And that's pretty much it, as the extent of my property management training. And of course, I knew it was coming, and I was able to read up as much as I could on what I need to do. But it was really like, here's the keys. You're in charge now.
So when was this?
That was December 1st, 2020.
So over a year ago. So they handed you the keys. How soon was that? The 8 days you started, you got the keys handed to you?
No. So it was probably June when I started.
June.
Yeah. And then it was just a couple months after that when we went under contract on that property. And we went under contract on a few deals that I found that turned out to be terrible deals. It was like a 5 unit and then this 12 unit in the middle of nowhere, Somerville, Georgia.
Oh god,
And
Somerville,
like,
yeah.
It was weekly rentals, and like everyone paid cash, and it would have been a terrible first deal, like not knowing what we were doing.
Sounds like a nightmare.
So we ended up going under contract, but not for very long. So we were able to pull out and get our earnest money back. So usually in that situation, if you go too long, you do lose the earnest money. They call that tuition. Like that's just that's the price you pay to learn that lesson. But we luckily didn't lose any money, and we were able to go under contract on the 48 unit deal, which was a good deal. It was a great deal. Closed on it, and then
near you guys too, right?
Yeah, it was in Chattanooga.
Let's talk about that deal. So how'd you guys find it? I mean, you're 5 months in. You guys are grinding. You're in now, right? You're surrounding yourself, which is important for everyone to listen here. That Tim surrounded himself with people, right? He built the relationships and network. JD. I never met him, but yeah, I see him going ham on Instagram. But you
Yeah.
realized and you saw that he had that he was your key, or he was one of your keys, like you said, mentors
Hmm.
into the biz. So you took advantage of that. So it's important for a lot of people out there, to take action. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Again, you asked for someone else. Hey, JD, do you know anyone else looking for real estate, jobs? And there you go, right there. He found you.
Hmm. And you can look at it and say that I got lucky, which I probably did, but I like to help people realize that I put myself into a position to get lucky. And
Exactly. Yeah.
he was not the only connection I had. I had taken several real estate investors out to lunch, build relationships with them, tried to provide them value. So there was a list of people I could have reached out to. He just happened to respond within like minutes of me deciding I needed a new job.
Exactly.
So that's just how it happened. But yeah, you
Yeah.
could totally say I got
Luck,
lucky
luck.
because I did.
Yeah, I mean, luck is in everything. I mean, luck is just a part of life. But it's like, what do you do
Mhm.
with the luck that you're given? That's what
Yeah.
separates everyone. Is everyone
It,
gets lucky. Some people just
yeah.
don't take the opportunity,
And you
which you
should
did
just
a really good job.
try to put yourself in more situations to get lucky.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
I was just sitting at
Exactly.
home, scrolling on Indeed, sending my resume to pretty much nobody, I may have gotten a job, maybe not, but I had built a little bit of a network and had people to reach out to who had an opportunity to help me. And this is a big
Which
thing
is
that JD is realized through Grant Cardone, because he's mentored a lot by Grant Cardone, is when you're looking for someone to be that person for you, there's three things. They need to be qualified, willing, and able to support you with
Gotcha.
your goals and to be a mentor and to help you succeed. So if they're not all three of those, they may not be able to help you. And I didn't know this at the time, but luckily I found someone who was all three of those. He was qualified to help me get into real estate. He
Mm-hmm.
was able to help me get into real estate, and he was willing to do it. So having all three of those is
That's big.
very key. And realizing that now, you could, someone listening to this could take that and look for those three things. So someone may be, qualified and able to get you into real estate, but they're probably not willing. They probably don't know who you are, or maybe they're willing to get you right in, but they're not qualified. So it's three things you need to look for. That's a lesson I happened to learn after I found that person, but it's a good thing to put out there and let people know about.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's huge. So, before we get talking in a couple other things, let's hit that. Like, you joined up with JD. What were you guys doing to find deals, and like, how'd you eventually find this 48 unit?
I was doing everything I could, trying to meet brokers, like cold calling brokers. Made the mistake of looking at deals on LoopNet, which I've eventually found out LoopNet is where deals go to die. But trying to build relationships through those. Some of those deals we looked at came from the brokers who had bad deals on LoopNet, but they had other deals. That's one way
Mm-hmm.
to find the people.
Gotcha.
But the ones that we ended up getting were a close connection with JD. He went to college with the guy. They were friends, and he was a top broker in town. So he had this deal, and it went straight to us because of that relationship.
Gotcha. So basically, they send you deals, you underwrite them, and then it just so happens that their offer was accepted, and then y'all went under contract for it. I'm assuming, right?
In this situation, it was like, hey
Am I
guys, I
lagging?
underwrote this deal. You need to buy it. You guys are buying this deal.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. That's sort of how it went with this particular deal.
Oh, that's good that he had someone like that. JD had that
Mhm.
friend, and so again, he just found the deal. The broker brought it to JD, and you guys said, "Look, you guys just buy it."
He's like, this is what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to raise about $900,000. You're going to have
Damn.
to get this type of loan, and we're going to do the walkthroughs. We're going to make sure everything's good, and you guys are going to buy this deal.
Heck yeah. Well, everyone needs that guy right there.
Yeah.
And what did he want a part of the
Mm-hmm.
deal at all?
He got a little piece and, of course, a commission for brokering
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
deal. And we've been involved in some other deals with him, but he doesn't personally buy anything under 100 units, I believe.
Oh
So
gosh.
this deal was too small for
Under.
his criteria, but it
Yeah.
was still a
Exactly.
good deal.
Interesting. So you guys get this deal. Tell us about the process, because I know you as the property manager, there's definitely a process in there. So let's say the day
Mm-hmm.
you're at the closing table, what started? So you kind of explained it a little bit, but
Um, I'll tell you exactly what my day looked like. So the plan was to have me be the on-site property manager. So I went and picked up the keys at the office where they did the closing,
mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think. As like I went to go look at my unit, and I found out which one it was, went in there, and there's no hot water heater. Like it looked like it had literally
Yeah,
been
taking
drug
it
out
out.
of there that day, which I think it was. The old maintenance guy had swapped it out for one that was broken because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they didn't want to buy a new one. They were about to sell the property.
Oh gosh.
So I moved all my stuff in that night, but I showered at my old place because I didn't have any hot water. But then it was like tomorrow, put out notices, letting them know that we took over the property. Here's the new phone number. Like this is who you're going to make the checks out to, and getting that information out there. So the first couple of days, it was like a lot
A lot
of
of work.
confusion and a lot of work and a lot of phone calls and explaining what was going on because the people didn't know the property was for sale. And then all of a sudden, everybody gets this notice, and now a 19-year-old is in charge.
Yes, I can only imagine. Like, because even with our 17 unit, the same thing like happened. They were like questioning all of us, me and that thing. I can only imagine 19. So, what were some of the things you were facing, hearing from the tenants?
I mean, it's like they wanted to give me all the maintenance things that had been overlooked and not taken care of. And I had to learn very quickly that if someone tells me something is wrong with their unit, I am not going to remember it. So they're like, "Oh, I told you about this." I'm like, "I have no idea you told me that." So I had to learn to tell people, send me an email or send me a text. Like it needs to be in writing. It needs to be something I can like
Yeah,
run
yeah,
into and see again. And then we ended up getting software where they can create tickets and upload pictures, and like there's of course a much better system. But that was one of the first lessons is like all these people are telling me everything. I'm like, I need this in writing
yeah.
because
You were not liking that.
48 people, well, I guess like 45 people. Well, how many was it? Because so when we took over the property, there were 13 vacancies. Now that I'm thinking it,
Yeah.
so there was a
So
lot.
35.
Yeah, so 35 tenants, and then a lot of work to be done to fill those vacancies. And we did everything wrong. There were a lot of lessons learned those first couple months.
Let's hear
But
about it. What
Yeah,
things
let's
could the listeners learn from?
ooh, so we made a list of all the vacant units and ranked them in order of which ones would be the quickest to turn. And then me and like some of my friends started painting them.
Oh gosh.
And we had the colors picked out, and we would just go buy the brushes and the rollers, and we were buying them in 1-gallon buckets because Ace Hardware was the closest store, and they only sold them by the 1 gallon. So we were paying like $40 a gallon or like $44 a
Gosh.
gallon for paint.
Oh
And you can
god.
go to Home Depot and get 5 gallons for like $100.
So
She nailed.
you're
So
double.
that was one thing. We were, first of all, doing all the work. Would have made way more sense to just pay someone to do it.
Like
And
that book behind you says.
yeah, who, not
Yeah.
how. Like, not how
Yeah.
can I get all these houses painted? Who can paint all these houses? And crazy. But also, nobody at Ace Hardware said a thing when I was buying
Yeah.
like 15 1-gallons of paint every
They
day.
didn't.
Nobody
They
said a
didn't
thing.
at all. No one helped you out. They're like,
Yeah,
let's just
nothing.
take this.
So that's
Hey,
another
man, there's a better
lesson is
deal.
nobody's gonna help you. you
There
you
you
kind of
go.
got to
Unless
figure it
you
out on
ask.
your own. Yeah, unless you ask. But I didn't know to ask. I thought that's just how you buy paint.
Yeah, exactly. No one's helping you out. I like
You're like,
that.
dude, let's go. Tim's coming in hot for
Tim,
us,
is he
boys.
Yeah.
is he back yet? Is
Wiping the
he back?
card.
Yeah, you think Tim's gonna be here today? How many think he's
Yeah.
getting?
Yeah, the paint guys probably get a commission at the counter.
Oh yeah,
No, that's funny.
for sure.
So that's one lesson. What another lesson? So you to sum that one up, not really find someone who could do it for you, but of you guys figuring out how to do it. What's another one you guys learned in that first, 3, 4, or 5 months?
I want to say it was like all the way up until like February, March. Like I was in there painting units and I was leasing them. And we had a flooring company doing all the flooring, but I was putting way too much physical work into the properties just because I thought that's how it needed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But like we had reserves, we had a renovation budget, like we had, 6 figures in the bank account just sitting there doing nothing. And we don't need that much reserves for the property, especially if you're going to get them leased and now be making, like say you lease them for $1,000, which they were more than that, $13,000 a month more than you were before. So
Exactly. Yeah.
everything was just learning as we go. And it was
Yeah.
like making decisions on what I thought was right. But I was also like, I just turned 20 and
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
don't know. Yeah. So we could have saved a lot more money, but luckily it was such a good deal that we didn't go upside down and we actually made a lot of money. But
So, do you guys still own the deal?
we are under contract to sell it already. Supposed to
Dang.
close by the end of
Wow.
January.
So, what are the
Nice.
numbers on the? What was the purchase?
Oh, we bought it at 3.35 and it's under contract at 5.4.
Oh, heck yeah! Don't be
Sheesh. That's
smiling.
nice right there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I
Look at
see.
that.
I
about
see
14
you.
months.
I see you smiling over
Yeah,
there.
so
That probably
it was
man is well paid.
so it was such a good deal to learn on because there was a lot of room for error, like literally like $2 million of room for
Yeah.
error.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
very fortunate that is where I got to cut my teeth on property management, asset management, and just real estate in general.
Yeah, that's crazy. So,
That's
2
awesome,
million in
dude.
14
Congrats.
months. Yeah,
So
for sure.
so you guys are selling that. What are you guys doing for more, more lead gen for these deals to underwrite and send out offers?
We're not doing a ton. I'll tell you what we are doing right now is we're raising money for a new construction deal with that broker. Actually,
Nice.
he builds very beautiful multifamily assets here in Chattanooga, and we're gonna do some stuff with him. We've partnered on a deal in Chicago that's also a new construction, and as they come, we're just gonna buy them. But we're not doing a ton marketing. I think we should be doing more. We should probably have some sort of acquisitions pipeline, but at the moment, there's not a lot other than our relationships.
So, for the people that are listening and they'll watch the recording, where did you guys get the money, and how'd you guys do it, or how'd you set it up for the first deal, the one in?
So one thing about having a business partner who's a CPA is that he knows a lot of people, and most of them have money.
Exactly.
So we only
Yeah.
needed to raise $900,000 for the deal, so it was pretty easy to do. A couple people bring in $200,000-$300,000 to it, and the numbers totally made sense. It was
So you
pretty
raised
easy for it.
900, and what you got a loan for the other
Yeah.
from
So
a bank?
then we just got a bank loan for the rest of it. It was 2 years interest only. So
Gotcha.
we haven't paid a dime of principal, and we're just going to sell it and
Gotcha.
get all that equity out.
Makes sense.
Nice.
So, and you're talking about a fund now that you guys are. Right? Can you tell us a little bit more about that, the listeners, so to get a realization of where the money's coming from?
Yeah. So we have a fund. I believe we're capping it off at 50 million. So we'll see how long it takes to get to that. We've raised a little over 20 million to date. So we're
Wow. Nice.
just raising money in it. It's sort of like a debt investment. So they're just getting an interest rate, and then there's a target multiple at the end of their term.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot different than a syndication.
It is a lot different than a syndication. So in a syndication, from my understanding, the investors are limited partners in the LLC. So they are on paper an owner in the property.
Exactly.
And like they get issued a K1. So they can take the depreciation, all that stuff. It's a little different in our case because they do not own the property. They're not on any of that paperwork.
Any sort of paperwork, yeah. So you guys are getting all the depreciation.
Right.
All depreciation, all ownership is back to you guys.
From other people's money. And then, so like, what are you guys utilizing the fund for? Like, what is the use case, or like, what are you buying real estate? I'm assuming, but
yeah, it's a majority real estate, and we do some small business loans, small business investments. Like, so for example, the goal is to provide just financial opportunities to people that wouldn't normally have it. So for example, our investors are able to make a good return, but we have a contractor who builds homes, and he was not able to get a loan to build a home, but he knew that if he did it, he was going to make money. Like, it was a no-brainer. So we gave him $50,000 for 6 months, and he paid us back in 4 months, and he made money on the deal. And like it was a no-brainer, like numbers wise, but the banks would not give him money. So we were able to, one, provide him the capital to do the deal and make a profit. Then also he's building his track record to where he will, be able to get some cheaper money from a bank down the road. And we've done a second deal with him as well. So, and
You're on camera right here. I got my grandma in the background. She's coming on.
You're just trying to invest in the fund.
Yeah, she's trying to get. She heard the fund. She said 20 million. She said, "I'm coming."
Dang.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting because, like, what would you what if? I'm trying to
it's
think,
almost like a hard money. Like you're arbitraging people's money
lender.
and just being a private lender essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to that.
So what if I got a home run? If I came in, I got like a $4 million deal, like a multifamily deal, and I'm just fantasizing in my head. Do I go to Tim and say, "Hey, Tim, and I'm not giving the idea because obviously this is not your guys' objective, but I say, hey, Tim, I need, you guys at 10% at $1 million. Would that be something that even, obviously it's not, I'm not saying that right now. This is happening.
Mhm.
I'm just just playing hypotheticals. Is that something like they're looking at too, or they're just solely focused that they're going to do real estate? That's them that are buying it. You know what I'm saying?
We'd rather, it depends on the relationship. Because we have done similar deals with people that have the right relationship. But like, say someone that I have not met before that's just listening to this reached out with a deal, we would probably not just loan you the money, but depending on the deal, we may partner and buy the deal.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's another thing. Like you might say to me, "Well, Gino, we'll buy it with you, but you got to give us equity."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because the fund will invest in it basically.
Right.
It. Yeah, makes sense. So, what is your ideal customer right now for the fund? It seems pretty versatile.
What do you mean by customer?
If you're going to lend money to someone who is what are they doing?
A multifamily property, 150 plus units.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then just any other special small project you guys have, someone come to you, you may approve it if it's a home run.
Yeah, just a project, just case.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, case by case.
It's just case by case. I guess it's really what they're trying to do. What I'm hearing, Tim, is that you're just trying to loan, you're trying to buy as much big multifamily as possible.
Right. Yeah. So the long-term goal is 20,000 units.
Yeah.
Which would be anywhere from $2 to $2.5 billion in real estate.
I was gonna say, what is Grant Cardone at?
All right, Grant Cardone.
10, 12, 15,000.
He's past 20,000. I'm pretty sure.
Is
he? Yeah.
I know he's
in that range if he's not past it. I guess the $2 to $3 billion range. Yeah.
So why? I'm assuming there's a reason behind that number. Is it just because that's when economies of scale kicks in? What is the kind of the
behind the 20,000 units or the 150?
Yeah, the 20,000 units or the $2 billion.
Yeah.
It's just a really big goal. If you don't have a goal like that,
big hairy goal.
Yeah, because JD is really big on writing goals. I write my goals down every day. And of course, Grant Cardone is really big on writing your goals. It's just, if you have something to write down, you either write it down every day and achieve it, or you stop writing it down.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. 20,000.
Yeah. You either achieve it or you stop writing it down.
That makes sense.
So
goals.
Go ahead.
What's the target date on that?
No specific target date. I don't really know realistically how long that would take.
Grant Cardone, how long did it take him?
Really, he started investing in the 90s, but he started really doing it maybe the last
10 years,
10, 12 years.
Yeah, exactly. Right when it crashed and he lost a lot of his stuff.
Then he just built it back up.
Yeah.
So we got a question from John, and you guys ask whatever questions you guys got too in the comments. What areas are you looking for multifamily units?
I like the Southeast United States. My main criteria is if it's going to be outside of Tennessee, it would need to be at least 150 units for property management purposes. It's just not really worth it for a 45 unit deal in Oklahoma City. doesn't really make sense in our situation. But like 150 units, you can hire a property manager full time. That makes sense for their salary, and you can do most markets at that scale, and that's where the economies of scale question would go to. I'd say 150 units in most markets, but a big fan of the Southeast, the Sun Belt. A lot of people are
Sun
moving
Belt,
there.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
just the Southeast because of the prices are a little lower.
Yeah, the states tend to be more landlord friendly. Price to rent ratio seems to be better,
Yeah.
for
and there's a
sure.
lot more people
One
moving here. Weather tends to be a little bit better.
hmm one of my buddies has several deals in Memphis because there's like a pretty hefty tax like decrease on
Opportunity
property.
zone.
Like,
Oh yeah, opportunities.
yeah, because
Mhm.
of the if you put like 50% of the purchase price in rehab costs or something, like you get your taxes cut down like to almost nothing. And he
Mhm.
said that's just a significant, and it's like for like 30 years or something. So, have y'all done any deals like over there? Like heard of that?
I've heard a little bit about that. I haven't looked into Memphis too much. I looked
Mm,
probably a year ago. I looked at a lot of deals in Memphis, but there's so much crime, and
It's a war
yeah,
zone.
yeah, I'd rather buy the type of assets that Grant Cardone's buying, like Class A assets.
yeah.
Yeah.
Rents are only going up, and the amenities are nice, and everything's brand new, so nothing really breaks. Um,
Mhm.
you just have to get to a certain scale to where the numbers make sense with those
Yeah,
properties.
yeah.
But
The class.
say it's like
Go ahead.
a 4 cap, you raise the rent like $50 times 200 units, you're going to make a couple $1,000,000, and
Yeah,
nobody's,
exactly.
and if you're
No
already
one's gonna.
paying 1,700 for rent, 1,750, no one's going to move over that.
Yeah,
And
you're gonna go to
it's going to
1800, no
increase,
problem.
the property value by millions of dollars just because they're at
Uh,
like a 3.5 to 4 cap.
yeah, that's exactly. He's like buying 330 unit complexes, like C class, and they're doing full guts and the whole
Mhm.
turnaround.
That's a
So
project and a half right
it's
there.
a
It
full
is.
project.
Yeah,
He's got
you
this.
don't want to do 20,000 C class units that you're gonna have to do full value add, multi-million dollar
You won't be
renovations
alive.
on.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be a lot of work. Now, with that being said, like, because I know, like, it's a super team oriented sport, I guess you could say, or activity, like with the syndication style. So, like, what are like the main roles in buying a bigger multifamily?
Uh,
Have fun.
your broker is gonna be a key relationship, and you want to pay them everything they ask for, pretty much, because if they're very experienced in the big multifamily deals, like there's a certain way it works. It's not like residential real estate. Everything's numbers, it's businesses, everything's super professional. If you don't know what you're talking about, like, people aren't going to work with you. It's a different environment, like working with the brokers. Like, you have to approach them differently. A lot of them don't go to these networking events. Like, you're not going to see the brokers Grant Cardone's dealing with at BPCon. It's just like they live a different lifestyle. Like, you're going to run into them at the country club, and
Yeah, yeah.
they're gonna have their group of people that they know. So brokers, and this is a lot of information I've gotten from Grant Cardone specifically, because we've really only done a deal with the same broker. But when the people that are doing these $100 million deals, they're a different type of person. They're not the realtor that's on Instagram that you can DM and they're gonna see it every time. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, they're the big guys
yeah,
or girls.
they're professionals. Like, they get paid what they get paid for a reason, and that is your key relationship in multifamily.
Sure.
yeah.
I think we got Jabbar has a question here. What are some examples of some systems it takes to buy several 100+ units a year? So, I mean, just what are some examples of systems you guys are using
Yeah.
right now?
A big one is you got to have the money flow. Like, you're going to need to raise several $1,000,000 to buy 100 units. So you need to have the relationships where you can somehow get the money, whether that be from private investors or anywhere that you would raise money, like institutional money. It depends what level you're at. Like, having the credibility of already buying thousands of units. Like, Grant Cardone can go raise money from like MetLife or State Farm.
Mhm.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
times, those are the people he's competing with against, trying to buy deals. So it depends. You need somewhere to get the money, and then you're going to have some sort of relationships or a team to acquire properties. Like you can set up a team that is cold calling multifamily properties, or you're sending mail to multifamily owners and building those relationships, because and again, it depends on what type of properties you're going for. Like say in Chattanooga, for example, there's a lot of older people that just own 100 apartments because that's what you did when you had money in the 80s.
Yeah.
You buy real estate and they don't
Mhm.
really know, and they haven't raised rent in 15 years. And in that situation, you could probably go direct to seller and get a pretty good deal and have a lot of success reaching out to them. And you can create systems for that. You can hire VAs that Chandler and Gino provide, and and they'll call them for you and they'll close the deal and get it under contract. But having the money and having the deal are two things. And a lot of times you are not the person that has both of those. Like maybe someone just brings you
Exactly.
the deal and you're the one that has the money, or you can get really good at finding deals and you don't have to worry about the money. Because if you have a good deal, there's people that literally are sitting on millions of dollars that they need to do something with. So you can
Yeah,
create
and
systems to get both, or you can be one or the other.
I think that's a big point right there. It's like in multifamily, there's like, from what I understand, again, I'm no expert, but just I have friends who do it. There's a lot of different parts. Like if you can just underwrite really well, or you can find a deal, and or you can raise the money. Like all those people have to come together, and all those skills create a
Yeah.
team, and then that's kind of the GPs, the general partners in the deal, from my experience as
That's
well,
if you do
or
a
what I know.
syndication, though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
thing.
syndication.
If you're doing multi-million-dollar deals, most of the time there's money on the table for everyone to get paid for what they're bringing to the table. Like if you are just underwriting, and you're doing $3 to $5 million
Yeah, for sure.
deals and a couple of them a year, you probably afford to pay someone to just underwrite deals a pretty good
Exactly.
salary, because you're doing these, deals that are going to make a $2 million return in a year.
Yeah, like Big Tim Stone did, a
Yeah,
friend of mine.
that's
Hey,
right.
so
We
let's
know
see
that
what
guy.
Yeah.
John said. What price
Also,
per
a quick
door?
question on that too.
Or go
After
ahead.
this one,
No, keep going,
I
Jalen.
was
We'll
just gonna
just go
ask
back
you,
to
like,
John.
what makes you want to sell versus just refinance out of the current debt?
A lot of it goes back to the property management thing I was telling you
Mhm.
about, and the fact that I am currently the property manager. That kind of
Yeah.
sucks. Actually, that really sucks. But you kind of want to be in the 100 unit range with the direction we're going to 20,000
Yeah.
units. Holding on to 48 units, kind of, you can justify it. It can make sense. And the
Yeah,
way that we've raised the rents and stabilized the property, it would cash flow very well with a property manager in place, or like a third party property management company.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's just a different game. It's specific to our market. Like we were able to just flip this 48 unit deal, and make $2 million in a year, just because someone who's got a couple $1,000,000 can buy it on their own, and
Yeah.
it's bigger than the duplexes, but it's smaller than the 100 unit deals.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
we've got a 45 unit deal that we're just going to do the same thing with, flip it and probably make $1.5–2 million in a year to 2 years to get into the bigger deals. Because with the banks, you do have to have some credibility. Like you have to have done
Hmm.
some deals before they're going to loan you, like
20
for
million. Yeah.
example, $20
Yeah.
million.
Yeah.
You do have to have some credibility. So it's specific to our situation and our market. Like we can do this deal and just flip it. Pretty much, we flip it in
Hmm.
a year and make a good return. And the guy who's buying it, because there's like, I think it's 3 units that we didn't even rehab. They were a little more than we wanted to do, and once we decided we were going to sell it, we just never touched it. So he could
Hmm.
renovate those and rent them, and they'll go for like $1,200 a month each. And then
Nice.
there were some like 4 Section 8 tenants in place. We didn't do anything with them. We didn't rent increase. Pretty much just left them in place. And then there's some that were not brought fully up to market rent. So this guy give it
Has some room.
2 or 3 years, he could probably make close to $1 million off of this deal. So he's getting a good deal as well.
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
Yeah, so if we wanted to hold on to it for 2 more years, we could get to that point. But
Yeah,
it's like
it makes a lot of sense.
the velocity of money.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
That's what I was gonna say too. It makes a lot of sense to sell, especially with the economies of scale not really being there, and also you're using your time up managing this property when you probably have a lot more high value tasks to be taken care of.
Yeah, so like for example, you can make $2 million in a year or $3 million in 3 years, which was the original plan. Or you take that 2 million, go into a similar deal, make 2 million a year, go into a similar deal, do the same thing. So then you're at 6 in 3 years instead of 3.
Yeah.
So it made sense. You can always make the argument that you should just always hold on to the property.
Grant Cardone says.
Yeah, and pretty much everyone who's ever sold a property regrets it. You know, they wish they could hold on to everything. But the direction we're going, it does make sense. And since we do have the money tied up in a fund with a term that's going to end, we're going to have to pay back investors. It was a good opportunity to get out and get that capital back.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you guys secure? So go back to the investors, and I know we got John's question here. We'll hit the rest of these questions. We'll get to you guys, but with the firm or with the fund, excuse me, when you're giving, the 7% preferred, what is it you're paying them no matter what, right? Even if you're not using their money.
Yeah. So
are they secured to the property?
No, they're secured with a promissory note in this situation.
Just for you guys to promise to pay them.
Say we didn't earn 7% on this deal, we would still have to pay them.
To pay it, yeah.
And say we earn 20%, we still only have to pay them 7%.
Gotcha.
So it's just a different structure. It makes sense with the deals that we're doing, where we're able to loan to some small businesses at say 10%. Like that makes sense,
Yeah, just like the big thing here is you just got to use the money so you don't bleed that 7% or that whatever it is, like probably like 0.5% a month or so.
Yeah. So
we're
not
only?
really. Yeah. It's just interest paid over the term, and then at the end there's a target multiple for the exit.
Gotcha. So if the multiples, let's just say the easy number is 2x for the term, then you'd have to return 2 times principal plus interest.
It would include the interest. It'd be the total return.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so if they paid him $20,000 in interest and it was with that 1.5 multiple, you guys would just have to pay him that $30K if they invested $100,000.
Right, to get to 150 or whatever.
Yeah. Gotcha. Makes sense. So John said, what price per door are you looking for?
That just depends on the market and the asset class. We're the ones that we're buying. They're like, I'd say B class properties. So we're getting them really good deal in the like $75,000 to $80,000 range, and then we're able to sell them a little over, well, I guess over $100,000 a door if we're selling 48 units at 5.4.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it just depends on your market and what you're buying.
Sure.
Like Grant Cardone's properties, he paid like $300,000 a door for, but rent's like $4,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So it all just depends on what you're doing.
Big Caesar, I'm in Memphis. Caesar knows about it. Then, if any good deals out there, Caesar. Well, maybe don't hit up Tim, but hit us up.
Yeah,
Tim's out of Memphis.
Yeah, we're in Chattanooga.
So we hit on this a little bit, but how do you find off-market multifamilies? Just brokers?
There's a lot of ways to do it. It's pretty easy to pull a list of multifamily, and you guys would be more experienced with that because you do that every day with wholesaling. But you can go to like county records, and you can find pretty much anything you're looking for pretty easily, or you can just drive around, or Google apartments in your city, or go to apartments.com and just keep scrolling. You can see things that are for rent, and you can see even old listings that have nothing. Like, it's still on the website. So there's a lot of different ways, and you can get real creative with it. But brokers are, I would say, a pretty good way to make sure you're getting a good deal and like it's gonna work if it's like the right broker. Like when our broker, for example, brings us a deal, it's pretty much like, yeah, you're gonna buy it. Like there's one time, I think it was the
So
45 unit deal. He almost just put it under contract in his name to assign it to us.
Really?
Yeah, but just because we weren't answering his text.
That's crazy.
better answer those things quick. So have you guys done any vetting of other brokers? Like how to weed out the good and bad?
A little bit, and you could. It's kind of easy in Chattanooga.
Yeah,
Like
it's so small.
it's not a big city, and you can tell, like, who's good at it. And sometimes you'll run into a multifamily deal that's represented by like a residential real estate agent,
Oh yeah.
and that's not a situation you want to get into. They want it because like a 6% commission is not typical in multifamily. Sometimes it's like, it depends. Again, it depends on the size of the deal. Sometimes it's like 1.25%.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that. I thought it was like 3 or 4%.
Yeah, because like say it's $100 million deal.
Well, exactly.
You're
Yeah.
not you're not paying $6
$6
million
million.
commission.
Yeah.
That'd be absurd. But it depends on it. Like it's I don't know. You can
Yeah,
kind of
just
tell in our market. You can just tell who's serious and who's worth it.
So John so I have a broker that has a lot, I guess, of multifamily
Yeah.
housing coast to coast, and I'd like to connect to see if the numbers would work. Hey, yeah, we're gonna let Tim share his info. At the end of this call, you guys can reach out, connect
Yeah.
with each other.
My Instagram handle should be on the screen if you want to follow me there and send me a DM. I'll see it.
I'm Tim Stone,
I'm
and
Tim
Omar is
Stone.
asking. We talked about this a little bit, Omar. But are you syndicating your deals, Tim?
No, so it's not a syndication. We have a fund, so we do raise the money in the fund, and then our company is buying the property, and it's just our names on the deal. So it's not the same as syndication. They're not LPs in the deal. They don't get the depreciation in this case.
Gotcha.
So it's a little different.
And ways to find people with money for these million+ deals. Hey, bro, I got a multifamily plug. You have a couple million. Let's do business.
Yeah. I just talk to people like, they say that you're like 3 connections away from everybody on the planet or something like that. Is it 3 or 6 degrees away
Yeah,
from
something like
everybody?
that. I've heard of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you talk about it a lot and everyone knows what you're doing and post about it on social media, like, hey, maybe no one has $1 million, but maybe someone has a rich uncle or has
Exactly.
a
Yeah.
friend that hangs out with people that have it. Like the money's out there. In my case, we are part of an accounting firm that has a couple thousand clients, and we have really good relationships with them. Some of them have been with us, for years, way longer than I've been around. So it's been pretty easy to just like, hey, we have this deal. It's going to pay this much. I know your business makes several $1 million a year. You want to throw a couple $100,000 in.
I think that's
And
big
they're
when you
like,
have that. It's all about networking, asking people, telling people
Yeah.
what you do.
Pretty much everything, I'd say, in most businesses, but especially real estate, it's all relationships. And like I said, and I guess some of you were probably not there in the beginning, but like we got all of our deals from one relationship.
yeah,
$2 million, one relationship.
One good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Tim's like I think like you did a really good job of this, like networking with all these people. If you're like a guy who hasn't done no deals, no experience trying to get into real estate or trying to get wherever, it could be any industry. How are you approaching these people? Because you can't just waste their time. So how are you trying to provide value to them that, would make them want to give you some of their time?
So a big thing to realize is that a lot of people in real estate go to networking groups because they know how important networking is in real estate. And if they're at a networking group, they're there to meet people. So you have free reign to go have conversations with these people. And of course, you don't want to waste their time, but a lot of people, especially the type of people that go to networking events, are the type that are totally willing to share everything with you. And
Exactly.
if you buy them lunch, like, sure, I'll go get free lunch and
Yeah.
talk about what I do, what I'm passionate about. So that was what I was running into. Is I would go to these networking events, talk to people. Most people in real estate love to talk about real estate. Here we are. You guys every week are on here talking about real estate. I got a podcast pretty much talking about real estate every week. That's what people love to talk about. So you're not inconveniencing them to ask them questions about what they do. But yet an easy way to provide a little bit of value is to buy someone lunch. Now, not, they may not always be willing to do it because they don't have time or it truly isn't, worth their time in some cases. But there's people out there that, they're willing to just sit down and, get some wings, get a beer and chat about what they do.
Get a brewski.
But then another thing is, most
sure.
people, property management sucks. If they happen to be in a situation where they do a lot of their property management, you can ride around with them like, hey, I'll put these notices out, or, I'll, call your contractor or call your plumber, just literally just help them out, even for free, just to ride around the back seat with them. Like my buddy Nick is good about that. He's built really good relationships with a lot of people in the real estate community in Chattanooga, because he just comes to them like, hey, I want to provide value to you in the best way that I can. I'll help you with this stuff. I just want to, sit in the passenger seat with you and see what you do every day.
I like that.
Yeah. That's good. I like that for sure. And another thing too is like people who are doing it already, like they know what high level people do and like how they act and how they ask the right questions and all these different things. So if you like come across with that type of, you ask good questions, you're into what you're doing with them and you're learning, then like they're going to pour into you because they're like, hey, I could probably utilize this kid or this person or whoever it is.
And one big thing I would say is you should probably educate yourself at least a little bit, because there are very simple terms in real estate that you probably should not be asking people about. It's okay. Like you don't know what you don't know, but I'm trying to think of an example and nothing's coming to mind.
ARV.
But like ARV, like if that comes up in conversation and you don't know what that means at a wholesaling event, it's like, not that everyone's mean, but they're going to be like, who's this kid that doesn't know what ARV means at a wholesaling event? So you should kind of know what you're talking about, but you're not expected to know everything. Yeah. But if you're expecting someone to teach you, you should be someone that is pursuing the knowledge, and then you're teachable and you can show that you've put effort into this. You're like, I know nothing about real estate, absolutely nothing, never tried. I want this person to teach me, and I'm going to buy him, a $15 hamburger. Like that, in that case, it doesn't make sense for anybody. Yeah. But
I'll be honest, that happens to me sometimes. Some people ask, to buy me lunch, and at the same time, you got to provide some value too if you're coming on the call, because you value your time. You're just asking. You got to also bring something to the person you're asking, to go to lunch with. Like, what value are you bringing, or what have you brought? What have you done to show? Because like you said, Tim, you'll sometimes like in opposite way. Like when people ask you to go out and you tell them all the stuff, I've done it many times for free. Like going out, driving out of my way, early morning, go talk to people, help them out, and then they don't even take action.
Yeah,
like. To follow up with them a month or two later, they haven't done anything, and it's like, and that's where it gets a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yeah, because people in our situation, especially us being young, like being able to help someone out is pretty fulfilling. But then if you help them out with information and nothing happens, it's like, oh, that did end up being a waste of time.
Yeah, because a lot of the satisfaction from going to do these free things is seeing and changing other people's lives.
Yeah. Like if I helped you out and you didn't provide any value to me, but it did help you and like it changed and like you got success, like that's the value.
Mm-hmm.
But if I helped you out and you provided no value and nothing came out of it, it's like you said, it's kind of sour.
It just
sour taste.
Exactly. So with that being said, it's kind of like an ego trip almost, because it's like you feel good from like helping other people, and like it's like a weird thing, but like helping other people, it's almost selfish, because like I love that. I love getting that adrenaline rush of like other people being successful. Like I just bought my brother this like little e-com store one of my buddies sold, and he got his first sale the other day, and I was like, and like he's gonna try to drop out
Hey,
of college now because of it. So I was like, dude,
one
that's like the
sale.
coolest thing ever. I mean, he made like $300. I was like, that's pretty sweet.
Take it.
Yeah.
So
We didn't even
cool.
talk about that, about how I dropped out of college.
Yeah, let's
Oh
talk
yeah, you
about
did.
that.
I
Tyler?
forget
Let's
about it
go.
all the time. Yeah, I dropped out of college last semester.
Congrats,
He's done. You
Yeah,
and Chandler.
it's just like so far out of my mind. I just
dude. We are
Feels
illiterate,
good,
Tim.
doesn't it?
yeah, I've never read any of these books behind me actually. Yeah, I'm just
Really?
kidding.
Audiobooks
so
only.
I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. But Who Not How is the book that I was reading when I dropped out of college, or when I made the decision to drop out of college.
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say it's the book that made me drop out of college, but I was reading it when I made the decision, so it helped.
Helped influence it.
Yeah, so that's why it gets the special spot in my background.
I like that.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I like that a
Also
lot.
saw you go to some. You went to the Grant Cardone conference, one of them, right?
Yeah, I went to like 3 of his events in 2021.
How was that?
Tell us
It's pretty
about that,
good. One piece of advice after going to as many events as I went to last year: don't go unless you're buying a VIP ticket. Because
Gotcha.
I mean, the information was good. Like Grant Cardone knows a lot about real estate, and he'll really get you pumped up. But a lot of times, you may or may not learn something. Like, so there were 1,500 people in this building, and probably 1,200 of them, it was their first real estate conference, and they were all beginners.
Yeah.
And Grant knows that, so he starts with the basics, and he is teaching all the very basic stuff. And I didn't pay all that money to learn the
See that,
basics. Of
yeah.
course, I know it helps to hear the stuff again, like brush up on your knowledge.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I was learning anything. But you go for the networking, like you want to
For
be
sure.
around the type of people that are doing it. But when I decided to go like 3 days before the event, so there were only general admission tickets, and the first day, sitting in the front row of the general admission seating, and Grant's just talking about some deals, like doing some underwriting, just basic underwriting on a whiteboard, and I see the guy next to me Google what NOI means, which is net operating income,
Yeah.
which, like, it's okay if you don't know that, but he paid $1,000 for that seat. And if you watched one YouTube video about multifamily real estate, they're going to tell you about
Exactly.
NOI, because
Yeah.
it's the most important number in multifamily real estate, like the NOI, the net operating income.
What does bring it in?
Yeah. Just how much you make.
So it was like networking with the people that
The right people.
didn't know what NOI meant 30 minutes ago isn't necessarily going to push you forward in your career. So I would say if you're going to go to conferences like that, get the VIP ticket. It's going to be like 50% more at least, or more than that, but you're going to get way more value.
You went to VIP, right? I saw you.
No,
You were
not
there?
at that one. Not at the first one I went to.
Yeah.
One I went
For the
to,
other ones you did.
it was
You've
almost
been to one though, right?
yeah. So
Tell
I
us
had,
about that.
we actually, JD bought the membership to his real estate mastermind. So I went to that, and it's like maybe 60 people in a room with Grant Cardone for 3 days. And that was a very different experience because, first of all, you're with people that paid
Money,
a lot more money. So they're a little more serious. And then it's more like you get to ask Grant Cardone a question.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that.
It was a better experience.
Did
but
you
it's
ask him
more
any
expensive.
questions?
Yeah, I think I asked him a question. I don't remember what it was.
No, you didn't ask him a question then.
Yeah.
He would have remembered it.
Is he like?
I know I raised my hand. I don't remember.
Yeah.
What's
I would be
what's he like in
shaking
the
if he was
smaller
doing
group?
that. I'd have been shaking.
What'd you say?
What's he like in that smaller group?
He's the same.
Yeah.
He's like
the
the
same as you
person.
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
The same as online.
You can tell he's the same type of person.
Oh yeah.
He's a fire plug, man. It's impressive what he does, dude. He gets after like 55, 60 years old.
More than that. I think he's like 65, right?
Is he
He's like
65?
62 or something like that.
Yeah.
He's way older than he looks.
62. He's big. Yeah, he's buff too.
He's just getting started.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got so much more.
Yeah.
But Tim, so is Tim Stone's just getting started too. So
yeah.
Heck yeah.
let's Tim, how can people? I know you mentioned about your YouTube, but tell us a little bit how they can get a hold of you if they had any questions. Is it? I mean, not YouTube. Excuse me. Your Instagram. Is that the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, Instagram's the best way. I'll see pretty much anything anyone sends or tags me in on Instagram. Got a YouTube channel for the podcast,
Yeah.
just Student of the Game. You can see it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. You can add me on Facebook. I created the Facebook group for that a long time
Heck yeah.
ago, but then yesterday when you were posting all the stuff about this, I realized the power of your Facebook group and went ahead and started it and invited everybody.
Hey,
Heck
I
So
saw that.
if you want to
Heck
add
yeah.
me on Facebook and join our group as well, that's a good place too, as of
Heck yeah.
today.
Nice. Get in there.
I love it.
I like it.
All right, well, Tim,
Cool.
we're at
Appreciate it,
7
Tim.
o'clock now. I appreciate everything you did. You came on, big
Provide
20,
that
youngest
value.
guest on here,
Yeah.
youngest and
know,
most
let's
facial
go.
hair too. But thanks for coming on, Tim.
Yeah.
And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, any questions, guys, just leave them down below and we'll get back to them.